No end in sight to the partial U.S. government shutdown, with President Donald Trump walking out of talks with Democratic leaders. They're in control of the House of Representatives and are adamant that the president will not get the $5.7 billion he wants to build a wall along the U.S.-Mexico border. All right, for more on this, we have our Democratic analyst, Joel Rubin, who joins me now from Washington. He's the former Deputy Assistant Secretary of State for Legislative Affairs and the president of the Washington Strategy Group. Joel, great to have you back. My gosh, with the Oval Office address that happened on Tuesday and the fireworks that we saw coming out of the meeting at the White House today with congressional leaders, where do you think we're at with this entire shutdown process?
So today was very dramatic, and on the heels of the speeches last night and the meeting today where both sides are claiming that the other reacted emotionally, it's a bit of an uncertain moment, and one can feel Washington collectively breathe very deeply, because it doesn't look right now like there is a middle ground available or a third party that's going to step in. During President Obama's leadership period, he had Joe Biden at his side, who would go meet with Mitch McConnell in the Senate to paper over budget disputes and get through it. Right now, there is no Joe Biden, and Mitch McConnell is not the same leader in the Senate. So there's a lot of concern that both sides are digging in and both think that they're winning, so they're willing to wait to cut a deal.
We heard the Vice President, Mike Pence, address reporters following that meeting. He said that Republicans had indicated multiple times that the president was willing to negotiate on the cost of the wall and what type of a wall it would be, but it looked like the second that they said there's not going to be any wall at all, he walked out. So it does seem like there's some negotiating power on the part of Republicans, but Democrats aren't moving an inch.
Well, Democrats certainly are sticking to their guns right now. And I think the challenge for Vice President Pence is that he negotiated several weeks ago with this same group and thought he had a deal. And then the president overturned that decision. And we saw after that deal that the Senate had passed a budget unanimously, but it died when the president said no. So he may have some rope, but he's not really a credible negotiator because no one really has confidence that he is the ultimate decider. Democrats, on the other hand, there is wiggle room, but it would require engaging on more than just the wall. It would require engaging on immigration reform issues, issues related to the Dreamers and their status here in the country, many other issues that are available to the president. And I'm not sure why the president hasn't yet gone down that path, because he did a year ago, and he actually was effective at framing this debate, and he won in the short shutdown period. He needs to pick at that area as well if he wants to get a deal.
If this shutdown goes into Friday, when we're going to see a lot of these federal government workers miss their first paycheck, it seems increasingly likely among a lot of analysts that the president could declare this national emergency. Who would then be to blame for the shutdown at that point? And how could we likely see this escalate if the president does, in fact, use one of these options that the White House has been mulling over with declaring that national emergency?
Well, there's going to be a lot of explaining that needs to get done. If he does go for a national emergency, it may get sent to the courts. There will be major congressional hearings on it. Why would a national emergency be used in this case? It would be unprecedented. There's not a national security crisis. The president, even today, said that immigration numbers and border crossings have gone down on his watch. So it would be significant, and it would likely be seen as the president making a unilateral move over Congress. And the problem he has is that he doesn't have a lot of public opinion right now on his side to enable him to take such an action. And that's where he runs political risk. Now, if he were to do that alongside opening the government, which is the option that is being talked about, he might get through this. But for the next day and the next wave of funding for this wall, which could be tens of billions of dollars, it will make it very hard to see that that money continues to flow.
All right, Joel Rubin, thanks once again for being with us. Appreciate your insight.